Vance Band. I miss playing with you guys and hearing you and working with you. And as I told other bands this week and recording my videos, nothing replaces being together live. And I hope you're looking forward to the next time we get to play together. Keep practicing your concert music, although it's not going to be played at this point. But I hope we can do it in the future. So we can look forward to that maybe for next year. Keep practicing it because it is challenging, and I think some great music by Vaughan Williams. Today what we're going to do is go over some of these terms you see, and up here some scales and songs from the Green Book, and then we'll finish with the 9th and 10th graders doing page 10 of the Artistry book, and that's where the 7th and 8th graders can stop the video if they want. But let's maybe get started with the E flat major scale, and we're going to start with just blowing some air through your horn just to warm yourself up, your body up. There we go. Inhale. Inhale again. And one more time. See if you can exhale for a really long time. Hold it in your tummy, not in your chest. Inhale. Okay, let's start with the E flat major scale. This is concert, so clarinets, trumpets would start on F, tenor sax on F, alto sax, give me a minute, and I think it's C for you. All right, here we go. E flat major. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Lots of you know this scale already and even have memorized it, so keep on memorizing it. We are still doing Scale Club at the end of the year, hopefully. C harmonic minor. This is concert again, remember. 1, 2, ready. If you are David or Timothy, remember to practice this on your bells first, but also reviewing your rudiments and going through on the snare drum as well. Okay, let's get started on number 60. This is from last week as well. Something I hope you're working on is really good interval practice, good for scales, something your fingers are really going to benefit from. So it does have a repeat. Let's play it twice. If you have 2 versions, high and low, play the low version. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. Good. Let's go to number 62 on the page. Okay. Sorry if I don't give you time to get to it on your book. Pause me. All right. Trumpet tune. Henry Purcell. So we're now in the Baroque period. Baroque period's from 1600 to 1750. A lot of great composers came out of the Baroque period, namely J.S. Bach. But this is Henry Purcell. If you've ever heard, well, there's a really famous piece by Purcell, and you've probably heard it. Actually, many famous pieces, but anyway, we need to get straight to the tune, so let's go trumpet tune. Lots of timkas in there. Be careful to not make your timkas sound like tomtees. So, in the beginning, make sure that your tomtee on the first measure doesn't sound like a timka. Okay, so making sure that you have your 3 and 4 and 1 going into bar 2. Okay, lots of dynamic changes in here: mezzo pianos, fortes, mezzo fortes, a crescendo, and a retard at the end. So checking out that, make sure that you get soft on the third line, and then you're gradually building. Don't give it away on the last line at forte until you get to that crescendo in the last 2 measures. Make your timkas very crisp in your 16th notes, delayed as long as possible at the end of the beat. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... And I hope you did the sneaky trick on a crescendo, which means to start softer at the beginning of the crescendo. Baroque period was a time of lots of ornamentation, lots of decoration. If you think about a Christmas tree and how it looks simple, that would be like the Renaissance period. But then as you go into the Baroque period, think about all the ornaments and the tinsel and the decorations that you would put on the Christmas tree, and that's kind of like what happened to the music. They wanted to be really fancy. The artwork was very fancy back then. So one of the things that they used a lot in the Baroque period were grace notes. Sometimes grace notes were interpreted as eighth notes, but many times they are interpreted as the grace notes that we are going to talk about today. Grace note is where you play the note very quickly into the next note. So the specific definition that you'll see from here tells you, and I had it the other day, but it's not on my book, but it basically tells you to play it quickly going into the next note. So it sounds almost like you're flipping the note. So I'm going to play what's written here. And you hear me do da-da. So think about playing the strong note first, da, 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 and then adding the grace note to it so it sounds like it's just coming slightly before. The emphasis is still on the big fat note. And that's a grace note. So you'd see a lot of those in the Baroque period. Okay, before I go to the artistry book, let's talk about some terms. Larghetto. Anytime you see ghetto, or an etto ending, allegretto, it's just a little bit different than the larg, the front part of the note, or alla if you have allegretto, like I said again. And this definition is kind of funny because it leads you to another detective work trying to find another term, and it says it's not as slow as largo. So largo would probably be like in the late 50s, or early 50s. But so Larghetto would probably be around the 60s, somewhere in that slow range. Then you see dolce. You probably see that on menus in Italian restaurants a lot. Dolce means sweetly, but I've heard it many times as a musician to mean to play to the fore, to play out. So, but in this case, we see it as sweetly. Then you have form. Two different kinds of form. There are many different kinds of form in music. They wanted you to know about binary form and ternary form. So binary is where you have two different parts to the form. Let's see, I can't think of a song right now that has binary form, but very simple. Starts one way with one melody, and then there's a second melody, and that's the whole song. Ternary is something we're a little bit more familiar with. You start out with a certain melody, you go to something different, and then you come back to that same melody at the end. Let me see. Da 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 dum. That's A. Then da 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 da. That's B. Then A again. Da 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 dum. There's an example of ternary form. And then enharmonics. Enharmonics are basically like your name. You have a first name and a second name, but it's both you. Enharmonics are two different names for a note. So a D sharp is going to be called also E flat. It's the same note, but it's the flat version. Or I could say B flat and A sharp. So B flat also has another way of identifying it, and that is A sharp. So those are enharmonics. Okay, at this point, 7th and 8th graders can turn me off, but we'll continue with 9th and 10th grade. Okay, let's go to the artistry book, page 10. We did work on that before. Let's run through the songs. And I think I'm going to play on page 10, Eternal Father. I think I'm going to play the bottom part this week, so you can play the top part. And the bottom part's got a little more trickiness in it. I see an E sharp in there. So be careful if you're doing that. Yes, you should know both parts. And this is different sounding than the Providence School song. It's got a lot of slurs, so it's a little bit more melodic sounding. Look at your key signature. Key of C, concert C. 1, 2, 3. That's a fun one. And let's do scale study. We did this one before, maybe a little quicker this week. Okay, we're going to start on the 4/4 after the whole notes. 1, 2, ready. Jazzy. All right, and scale harmony. I'll play the bottom this week. 1, 2, ready, and... He likes to throw in some weird notes every once in a while. Okay, and then A minor, here we go. Again, let's play the bottom and look at your key signature. Since it's minor, natural minor, not harmonic, so you're not going to see any altered seventh notes. 1 and 2 and ready, go. All right, good job 9-10. I will see you later next week. Happy practicing.